Chapter 8. Shripad Shrivallabha blesses a Brahmani and her son. Namdharak asks, how long Sri Guru Shripad Shrivallabha stayed there in Gokarna and what happened later? Shri Siddha. Sri Guru lived secretly for 3 years and from there he went to Sri Giri. After 4 months he went to Nivriti Sangam and hence to Kuravapur on the banks of Krishna river. There lived a Brahman well versed in Veda and Shastras. He had good-natured devoted wife Ambika by name. She begot children but none of them survived except one son. In due course, his third ceremony was celebrated but he was dull, foolish and dumb. His parents were much worried. The Brahman got tired and while training him, at times beat him for not learning his lessons. His wife could not bear this cruel treatment to her only son. Brahman died after some time. The woman lived with her son begging for their livelihood. The boy grew up, but being foolish and poor, no one liked to give one's daughter in marriage to him. People said to him, "Your father was a learned man, but you are like a stone. You have brought disgrace to your family. How are you not ashamed of begging for your living? Better give up your life in river Ganga." He was aggravated to hear such hard words on and off. He therefore intended to give up his life in the deep waters of Ganga. Seeing this, his mother said to him in grief, "I shall also accompany you." They both went on to river Krishna. Shripad Shrivallabha had also been there. Seeing him, the mother bowed to him and said, "We both have decided to give up our lives in this river, but as committing suicide is a sin, how shall we be relieved of our miseries without being offended?" Sri Guru asked, "Which miseries induce you to give up your lives?" Narrating her whole account, the woman said, "Swami, we visited this holy place and observed vratas for getting a son, and after we got him, we understood he is dull. All despise him and scold him. I therefore request you to bless me with a son who will be pious like yourself, at least in the next birth. He should prove good for all our future generations." Seeing her devotion, Sri Guru said, "You worship Shiva with devotion, and you will have God-like son." Nanda Gavali worshipped God, and hence Sri Krishna lived at his home. Your desire will also be fulfilled if you worship him devotedly. How did they worship Sri Hari? What vrata did they observe? Sri Guru said, "On every Shani Pradosh worship Lord Shiva." A tale in this respect is narrated in Skanda Purana. There lived a righteous king, Chandrasen in Ujjain. Manibhadra was his chief counsel. He worshipped Shiva with utmost devotion, and Shiva favored him with the most bright Chintamani bead, which he had given to his master Chandrasen. A mere touch of the bead would turn iron into gold. By mere sight of the bead, one's desires were fulfilled. So all the kings desired to have such a bead. Many kings tried to get the bead from the king and offered him money for the same, but all efforts were in vain. So they all combined their forces and attacked Ujjain. When Chandrasen was engaged in worshipping Shiva on a Shani Pradosh day, children watched the worship of the king, and they also wished to worship Lord Shiva similarly. Boys gathered stones and prepared a Shiva temple and placed one stone as an image of Shiva Linga and began worshipping it with flowers and other herbs. The mother of the boys came there and took their sons for meals to their home. But one boy did not go home. His mother thrashed him angrily and said, "It is night now. Come home and have your meal." She broke the temple and threw away the image of Shivalinga. Seeing this, the boy began to weep in grief and intended to give up his life. But after some time he fell asleep. Sri Shiva was pleased with his devotion and created a beautiful temple. A linga of precious stone was installed there. Shiva awoke the boy, looked at him with affection, and asked him to have a boon from him. The boy was much delighted. He bowed to Shiva and said, "My mother has broken the evening worship. Kindly forgive her." Shiva said, "As your mother has seen this evening worship, she will get a son named Shri Krishna in next birth, and you will also have all the pleasures." The forces of enemies were emerged. They spoke amongst themselves, "What wonder is this? How this bright, beautiful temple has been created here within a night. Let's give up enmity and see King, who is virtuous on friendly terms." They sent their messengers to the king. King requested them to come to visit the Shiva temple where he should see them. Chandrasen was also wonderstruck to see sun-like bright Shiva temples sprung up during the night. The cowboy's house looked very bright. The king asked the reason of this miracle. The boy narrated the whole story to all kings who had gathered there. All were much pleased to hear him. They said, "You really become the king of the herds of the cow." They offered the boy many gifts and land, and except Chandrasen, all the kings returned to their places. The boy went home and narrated this to his mother, all that had occurred. He said, "Shiva was pleased with my evening worship. As I requested him to forgive you, even though you had broken the temple, he was not angry with you. Besides, he assured that the incarnation of Shri Krishna will stay at your home." Shripad Shrivallabha narrated the significance of Shani Pradosh worship to Brahmani, and seeing her devotion, placed his palm over the head of her son, blessed him. Eventually, boy instantly had the knowledge of Vedas, Shastras, Tarak, Bhashya, etc. All the Brahmins and his mother were wonderstruck to see this. The mother respectfully bowed to Sri Guru and said that she was fortunate to see Sri Guru and get his blessings. She said, "You are God yourself. We shall worship you in the evening. I hope I shall have a son like yourself in my next birth. Let not your words be untrue." Saying this, she began to worship Sri Guru every evening with devotion. Her son got married and had sons and grandsons. Those who are blessed by Sri Guru receive all leisures in the same way.